welcome to another episode of NFPete. My name's Pete, aka the Film Boss, and today we have a special episode with Phil Nader, your resident space engineer, right from the Proxima Discord. That's right, I saw Phil on the Proxima Discord when he was posting about the income streams from the Proxima NFTs, and I was floored by some of the stuff he had found. So I had to have him on the show so we can all learn a little more about the potential income we can earn from these NFTs. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Give a damn about it when I feel like it.
With a thriving ecosystem, the highly coveted Dirt token, limited edition collaborations, auctions, giveaways, and more, Multiworms continues to wiggle a trail for NFTs on the MultiVAC Blockchain. Phil, welcome to the show. I was listening to you talk in the chats and stuff, and I was listening to your breakdown of the income stuff, and it really opened my eyes to how crazy this stuff is with the ships. I mean, I knew there was some rental income. I knew there was a P2E aspect to this game when we bought them, just like some of the other like little bits and some of the other stuff out there as well. And I just didn't really understand the depth of the income generation. And then when I started listening to some of the stuff you were saying, I was like, we got to get him on the show and we got to let everybody know, all these NFT holders know exactly what they're holding here in their wallets with these Proxima NFTs. So let's get into some of these different income streams. Now, you were telling me a little bit before that there's about 5 different income streams here coming in from each NFT holder. So let's kind of start from the beginning and let's break this down.
Yeah, for sure. We'll go into each one. Just to start off though, Pete, thanks a lot for having me on the show. I mean, I'm just an average guy. I'm not part of the Proxima team. I'm just that guy making dad jokes on Twitter with my 190 followers, right? Half of whom are probably bots. So,
dude, that's all right.
But yeah, like I said, I'm not affiliated with the team. They did name me chief mechanic for Discord because I was on there wasting so much of my time. But anyway, beyond that, no, I don't have any special knowledge that I can apply here. You have to do your own research. Obviously, I'm not a financial advisor. I am a lawyer, but I'm not providing any legal advice right now. And I'm a pretty bad lawyer at that, so you wouldn't want my advice anyways. Anyway, so let's jump on into things. I think, first off, it's pretty awesome to see that the Tellurian faction minted out. All 3,333 are now minted, and you see the secondary market starting to pick up there and the floor price starting to come up. So that's great to see.
Yeah, well, you actually brought it up when we were speaking before, and I thought that was interesting that it kind of slowed down, and then when they made that announcement about that final income stream with the ad, it picked up and boom. So yeah, I'm really interested to learn about these income streams, and the reason I wanted to add this because you're not just a regular person. There's a small community here in MultiVAC, and there's a lot of great people in here who I don't think are anybody in particular, myself included, anybody special anywhere with these millions of followers or anything like that. However, we're all playing a little part in this ecosystem as it grows. And I think that's what's important here, is that it's connecting those people with value, hearing what they got to say. And again, having someone who understands the real breakdown of this income so that people like myself who buy these NFTs can understand the value they're holding before we go and sell for, a couple hundred MultiVAC on the site and feel like we went over something.
We have to make some assumptions, and there are going to be some speculations in what we're talking about today. But for the most part, I think we have a pretty good sense of where the income is going to be coming from. We can sort of run the numbers a bit and see, does that make sense to you? Does that make sense to me? Ultimately, though, everyone has to kind of crunch those numbers themselves, right? And I really encourage everyone to get a calculator and do the math for yourself. And if you disagree with me or if you disagree with anyone else in Discord, that's a good thing. Bring it up. Let's have a discussion about it. Let's chat about it, because we're all just trying to help each other out here, right? We're all just investors trying to make smart decisions. So with that, let's jump into the income streams. And if you haven't read the white paper for our audience out there, it's really in 3 parts, and I recommend that you go and have a look at that. Martian Lord did a really good job breaking everything down and really getting into detail on where we can expect the income to come from. The first is play to earn, right? So this is just for anyone who is a gamer and wants to play this game. You do not have to hold an NFT to earn from playing the game itself. And essentially, you don't even have to be that good of a player. You can just log in and you'll earn just from logging in each day and meeting those unlocks for consecutive days of playing. There's also going to be weekly contests, from what I understand. that will probably involve, certain ships with certain traits doing certain levels, right? Or something like that. I'm just speculating.
When I spoke with them, they confirmed that there are going to be things in terms of the ships you own, and they are going to have contests for that type of stuff. So it might be a ghost ship one week, a MultiVAC, a Bitcoin, and the contest will be with those ships for the high score.
Yeah, which is really cool, because when we start talking about rental income, which we'll get to, that creates demand for all the ships out there, right? Not just the best ships in the game. So that's really cool. There's a significant portion of the PGC tokens, the Proxima game coins, right? That's the MRC20 token that they're going to be releasing. A significant portion of that is going to be allocated to play to earn. It's 35%.
Okay.
So you're looking at 3.5 billion tokens just for playing the game, right? That's up for grabs. Now, once you're earning those PGC tokens, there's a couple things you can do with them. One is staking, right? And I think Martian Lord mentioned that in his video with you. It's not going to be a crazy APY. I think he said 5% or something like that. But that's good, right? It takes those PGC out of circulation, and that's going to help with the price and everything. And then, if you're staking it, you're going to be earning your 5% APY over the year. So that's really good. The third income stream is just from holding your PGC. You're going to earn a portion of the in-app sales. So if someone who doesn't hold an NFT, or maybe they want to try out a different ship or something, they get on the in-app store, right, and they're buying a new laser or a new missile or something like that, a portion of those proceeds are going to come back to the PGC holder.
Yeah, the way it looks like we have a small amount of like bonus income that come from the staking, that come from those rewards, that come from what they just released also, which would be on top of that. And then your main income will probably be the rental income off of the ships.
You also mentioned what they just released, and that was ad share, right? So yeah. On NFT, the minting for the Tellurian faction kind of was slowing down around 2,900, 3,000. At that point, the Proxima team sent out a tweet and said, for our game, there's going to be an ad share program. So essentially, every time someone who doesn't hold an NFT, from what I understand, is playing the game, when they start it up, there's going to be an ad. When they complete a level, go to a second level, there's going to be an ad, right? And if they die and have to respawn, there's going to be an ad. Now, also for NFT holders, you can opt in, right? You can say, yeah, I want to support the Proxima team. I want to support the game. I'll watch some ads too. So you can select that and join in, right? That's really cool. I mean, how many games can you play where you're going to be making a percentage of the income from their ad share? I mean, that's just nuts, right? So I think once people saw that, then they're going, wow, this is really unique, and the potential here is pretty massive, right? And yeah, they were able to mint out those 3,333 pretty quickly. So
I think even more impressive was also the volume. The trading volume was insane. Not only the minting. I mean, it you just saw on Nifty, it was just Tellurian, like right down the list. It was unreal.
The secondary market is pretty interesting, right? Because you saw a lot of people selling at a loss. I mean, the minting price was 2,500 MTV. I think some people were kind of, running out of MTV in their wallets, and they're thinking, oh man, I want to take another stab at minting a really great ship. So I'll get rid of one of my floor ships for a loss, and hopefully I'll have enough then to mint one more. But ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, I don't think there are really any bad ships to be holding. To be honest, I think that, and now we can start talking about rentals.
Yeah, let's transition into that, because that's exactly what I want to hear.
Yeah, for sure. And this is the fifth revenue stream that we'll talk about today. And I think this is really important, right? Especially for the NFT holders. What can we expect to earn from the ships that we're holding? Is it worthwhile to hold all of our ships, or do we just want to have the best ones in our bag, right? I think people will disagree with me. Some people think that floor ships maybe aren't worth holding, and let's get rid of those so we can mint some better ones. But I honestly think that there are no bad ships in this game to be holding, and that every single one of them is going to do really well for us. The reason being, we have these daily, weekly contests, right? And like you just said, those are going to involve ships with various traits. So for this week, it might be, a ship with a really basic engine, a really, basic afterburner, basic canopy, whatever. So someone who's holding an NFT that has those traits, they're going to see a lot of rental interest, right? People are going to be looking to rent that ship out for the week so they can take part in the weekly contest. So I think that, that creates a lot of rental interest for every ship that you have, not just the ships that might be the rarest or have a combination of the best qualities. So really interested to see how it plays out. Now, will some ships rent more than others over the course of the year? Absolutely. I think that, you know, there's some real gems out there that have a combination of very unique traits, but I do think that rental income is going to be generated by all these ships.
My understanding of this is it's basically there's 10 cents of rental income per ship when it's rented, right?
I sent out a tweet about 4 days ago and everyone was like, whoa, is your math right? There's got to be something wrong here because this sounds like it's getting pretty high. But Martian Lord said it's approximately 10 cents per rental. Okay. Is that going to be 8 cents? Is that going to be 12 cents? Is it going to fluctuate with the price of BGC? We don't really know. But assuming that it is 10 cents per rental, right? And you can rent out each of your ships 100 times per day, then the gross profits from a single NFT ship would be $10 per day, right? We are taking 75% of that as NFT holders. So you're looking at a max net of $7.50, right? Per ship per day. Now, my fleet at the time when I sent out that post was about 180 ships. Got a bit carried away with the Tellurians. No, I don't have any money left for the next faction, so you guys can all jump over those. But anyway, you know, if all of my 180 ships were to rent to their full capacity 100 times per day, right? Then I'm getting $7.50 per ship per day. That's $1,350 per day for my fleet, right? I don't think that's likely. That's best case scenario. But let's take even 10% of that. Let's say
that's what I'm saying. Exactly
10% of that fleet. And I don't know, is that conservative? Is that maybe a little much to expect? I don't really know at this stage. I'm speculating, but I say, you know, if I can rent out 10% of my capacity of my fleet per day, that's still $135 per day. And you multiply that over 365 days in a year, that's $49,275, right? And this is one income stream that we're talking about. This is just the rentals. This is not including ad share. This is not including, you know, the in-app purchase percentage that you're going to receive. This is not including staking rewards. This is not including play to earn, right? I don't have to play the game at all. I just have to hold the NFT.
It's funny. I said the same thing. I said 10%. If I just go off 10% of what I have, if I have 100 ships, if I'm making $75 a day, right? $750 a day is 10% of that. $7 a day for the month is like $210, $300 a month for nothing. You know what I mean? Just that's like a car payment, you know? So it's like, that's to me is nutty in itself that you can just do that with this type of investment, you know? Because right now MTV's kind of low and you can get in on this stuff. Like you were saying that the market dipped. I was like, praise, this is awesome, man. Market dipped. I can afford some more Machina. We're good. Let's go.
Definitely. But also, you know, I think they have a very long-term vision. And you can see that in how they discuss things in Discord, right? They're not the ones giving us the income projections. You don't see Martian Lord on there saying, "Oh, hey guys, like buy a ship because you'll be able to make $7.50 per day." You know, that's me doing that. That's not them, right? I think you really see that they care about their community. They want to build from the ground up. They want people to feel like they're part of this and to feel like they can, you know, really earn a substantial income from this. Just the care they have for the community shows that they want this to be a long-term successful project. This is not something that they're looking to just make a quick buck on and you know, forget about. So.
And that's why I like to get as much understanding about this stuff as possible. And we're thankful for people like yourself who take the time to dive into this stuff on their spare time and really understand what's going on and translate it for the rest of us who have no idea. Like I didn't know we were making that off, that you can make that off those ships. So when I was reading that stuff, I was like, we gotta get this out because this is really interesting. If a game catches on, you know, there's a lot of income. It's $1 billion business, you know? So, I mean, that's really something to be a part of. So I'm really excited about that.
You know, I think this kind of leads us into a discussion about the rarity of the ships and how do we evaluate that, right? And I've said, I think all ships are going to be worth keeping. And I think people are going to realize that it doesn't really matter whether you have an extremely unique ship or a base model ship. They're all going to do really well. That said, you know, some ships are going to sell for more in the secondary market. We've already seen that. I think there was a BTC ship that sold for like 80,000 MTV already, which is just crazy, right?
What's interesting about you, because I know you love the BTC ships and stuff, I don't really care about those ships, kind of. I'm more interested in the attributes, you know?
Yeah, and that may be a really smart approach, right? I think we're going to see some weekly contests that involve a BTC ship or a Panda ship or something.
Yes.
And I think BTC ships made up, what, like 0.54% of the Tellurian faction? There's only 18 of them, right? So holding one of those, one thing to know is that BTC ships and MultiVAC ships are going to be included in all three factions. They're going to be in the Machina or the Machina and Celestial, right? But Pandas and KuCoins and Moneros and all those other special ships for the Tellurians, they're not going to be carried forward with the Machina and the Celestials. So
now you're paying for the rarity factor that doesn't actually affect gameplay, but is more of a collectible item. And so that's almost like another aspect of the income generation.
Really, there are 4 different methods that we see being used in the NFT space for how to measure rarity of an NFT, right? The most basic is by using the rarest trait that your NFT has. So we just talked about BTC ships, right? If you're holding a BTC ship, you would just be looking at that 0.54%, and that's your rarest trait, and that's sort of what you use to determine whether it's rare or not. Another method is average trait rarity. So essentially what you're doing is you're adding up all of the percentages, right? And then dividing by the number of traits. That's good for giving you sort of an overall picture. You can kind of get a sense of how rare your traits are on average, but the rarest of traits are kind of lost in that calculation.
Gotcha.
So the third method, and this is the method that I prefer, I really like this, you multiply the percentages together, right? So what you want to do is convert them to decimals first. So if we're looking at Tellurian Fighter 1000, this is a beauty, right? Like this is one of the best ones in the game. So let's look at the actual rarity table. So dark side is 3%, right? Then notice there's only
even
100,
wow.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah, so we convert that to a decimal. So you've got your 0.03, and then you multiply that by the next trait, which is our fuselage. In this case, it's a lava fuselage, which is the best you can get, right? So that's 0.0507. Then you multiply that by the next trait, which in this case is our Starfighter. It's a KuCoin, which is really rare. There's only 6.51%, so you got your 0.0651, right? Then we've got the Falcon engine, which is the best engine. It's 11.13 on the rarity table, right?
Wow,
so you
ship
add
is
that
loaded.
in. Yeah, for sure. Then you've got the standard afterburner. It's just got the downburst afterburner, which is 35.19%. Diamond canopy, the best canopy in the game, right? So 2.73%. Then you've got your laser. This one has a neon laser, so that's 14.46%. And you've got a howitzer missile, right? So the only like stock component, I guess, would be its afterburner. Yeah. So this one's crazy, right? When you do the math, like it's wild on this one. But essentially, using statistical rarity, you're looking for your sum to be as low as possible, right? So the lower the number, the rarer the ship. And when we multiply all these together, there's really only 2 ships that I've calculated that end up in the like times 10 to the negative 9th power range. This is one of them. One of the BT ship fighters is another one. But what I'll say is that out of the like 180 to 190 ships that I'm holding right now, only a handful are like times 10 to the negative 8. I have nothing in the times 10 to the negative 9 range. And the majority of my ships kind of fall in that times 10 to the negative 6, times 10 to the negative 7. That sort of range. So if you do the math on one of yours and it's times 10 to the negative 8, anywhere in that range, you know you got yourself a really rare ship, at least from a statistical rarity perspective.
I like that sheet. That shout out to Vancha, who put out that sheet together, because he had both, where it was the gameplay version and then he had just the rarity version. So you're able to get kind of both numbers, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, so that he's actually using a different formula than statistical rarity. So this is the fourth formula in terms of measuring rarity of an NFT, and this one's called Rarity Score. So I don't use this one. I'm not very familiar with it, to be honest. And Vancha, he's a smart guy. He put together that Excel spreadsheet, and he's got every single ship from the Tellurian faction. And essentially, my understanding of his formula is that he's taking the rarity of each individual trait and then adding those sums together to get a rarity score. And essentially, he does those two columns where it's just the overall rarity score and then the gameplay rarity score. And for the gameplay rarity score, what he's doing is he's eliminating the traits that will not affect gameplay. So Galaxy, right? The Galaxy is not going to affect your gameplay. It's going to give you that 30 seconds of invincibility on whatever level, but it doesn't really affect, what damage you can take, what damage you can dish out, and your maneuverability. So we're focusing essentially then on your fuselage and your canopy, which are your defense, right? Your laser and your missile, which are your offense, and then your maneuverability, which is your engine and your afterburner. So that's really cool, because then you can sort of strip away all the excess and just focus on, all right, if I want to play this game and get the best score possible, what ship do I want to have? And that's where his second table comes in. And you'll see like some ships will be maybe, in the low 100s for overall. And then you look at gameplay and they're actually like top 10, right? So yeah, shout out to Vansha. He put in a ton of work to do that. I know he was kind of pulling his hair out there at the beginning, going, "Oh man, how can I get this done in an efficient way?" But what he's done is, I think, really helpful to the community. So it's important to know that, just because we're using a formula doesn't mean that this solved math is the answer to everything. There's always a theory of value behind every formula, and you got to be aware of that, right? Know that the specific formula you're applying is looking at something through a certain lens, and a different formula may be able to gain some insight or have a different perspective that your formula that you were using was not able to grasp. So I think that's why it's important to do your own research, run the numbers, apply all these different formulas that we've been talking about, right? Maybe there's others out there that I'm not even aware of, and really get a sense of, for yourself, is this a ship that I think has value? And if so, can I then have a conversation with someone else about it, like we're doing right now? And does that person agree with me, right? And I think that's the best way to go about evaluating your ships and determining which ones you want to hang on to and which ones you might want to list for sale on NFT or MTV Art when that's up.
Well, Phil, your passion has come through, man. That's why I had you on the show, man. I really appreciate it, man. This is awesome. This has been an incredible learning experience. I feel like I have a much better grasp not only on the income streams, which is what I was really interested in, but I even understand the rarities a lot better now, and some of these calculations, which I wasn't sure how they were putting them together, because I know there's a lot of disparity on how people evaluate the different rarity factors. I had never heard of your formula before, which is kind of interesting. I got to look into that with the 10th powers and stuff like that. That's pretty interesting.
To be clear, that's not my formula, right? I'm
saying the one you brought
someone
up.
else's math. Yeah, I mean, I'm just that dumb guy making dad jokes on Twitter. I'm not the smart one here. So
I'm with you.
But like I said, and don't get confused with the powers. That just means how many points behind the decimal, right? And I think if you watch a couple YouTube videos on how do we express a negative power as a decimal, it's worth it. Put in the time. It's fun. I think you get a really clear sense of the ships that you're holding and whether they're valuable or not. And it's unfortunate because you see some people haven't done this and they're listing ships on NFT right now. And you're just going like, man, you're going to regret that. I mean, that's a beautiful ship. You've got some of the rarest qualities and you're trying to get double your mint price. You can probably get way more than that. But
I'm getting mad at these people, man. I'm being honest, because I can't spend any more of this money. This is ridiculous. But like, you're like throwing it right in my face. It's like right there.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
I know. I've told myself that I'm no longer allowed to put in any fresh capital. It's just like whatever I can make off of profits for selling on secondary, I can roll that back in. But at some point, you got to just say, look, someone else is going to have to benefit from this one. So yeah. 100%. But anyway, Pete, before we go here, I can't let you off the hook too easy. The community has given me some questions to ask you. So are you cool if we go through some of those?
Yeah, brother. Whatever you got.
All right. Okay. First one. This is actually from Martian Lord himself. Who of the following is the best? Eddie Vedder from Pearl Jam, Kurt Cobain from Nirvana, Chris Cornell, Soundgarden. Let's not focus on anything after Soundgarden. And Lane Staley from Alice in Chains. Who do you pick?
Well, that's tough, man. I'm a big Kurt fan, but Chris Cornell is like one of the greatest unique singers of like all time, in my opinion. So I was into all his bands pretty much. So I mean, even his single stuff. So I mean, I'd probably go with him, I guess. And I'm a huge Pearl Jam fan too. I do like Pearl Jam too. But I'm from that era, so those are the Smashing Pumpkins.
Yeah, I know.
That's
I
those
gotta
bands.
Say, Bad Motorfinger, one of the best albums of all time. Love that. I actually saw Cornell with Audio Slave in Vancouver too. That was really cool.
Dude, Audio Slave was probably my favorite. That was, I could hear it right now. Like I could listen to that thing like right now.
Oh yeah, I mean you got the boys from Rage in there, and it was just unreal for sure. Yeah.
And I was a big Rage fan, so it was like the perfect mix of people. It was unreal.
Yeah. Me too. Okay, second question. Tell us about your background and how you got into MultiVAC.
Oh, cool. So I basically got into crypto in like 2016 or 17, somewhere right around there. I saw somebody post on Facebook about Bitcoin that annoyed the shit out of me that this kid was making money with it. So I just like, I'm gonna look into this thing. So I started looking into it, and you know, I'm kind of one of those people that just likes to dig. And, you know, I got into it, losing money, you know, and figuring out some different things. Then got into some altcoins like Smart Cash and these crazy altcoins back in the day. You know, again, nothing too much crazy. And then the market crashed. I got a little fed up with paying attention to the dips, and I didn't really understand how everything, you know, the long-term aspect of it. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to throw all my stuff into Theta and leave it there. And I'm not paying attention because I was a video guy and I liked the whole video aspect of the Theta network. So I kind of left my stuff there and left it on a ledger, and I didn't check it for like 2-3 years. And I went back in like 2-3 years, you know, crypto started coming back around again around like 2019 or the summer, or whatever, it was 2 years. And I was like, oh, let me check my wallet again. And then the ledger was obsolete that I had. I was like, oh man. So I had to order a new ledger, get out my passcode, put the stuff in and stuff. And I go in and I look at my account and I was like, whoa, no way. So it was like, yeah, it was great. So it was an awesome surprise there. So then I was like, let me see what I could do with this now. Now I know about crypto, and then I just started losing money again. So I was like, let me not mess with this. And I started looking at the different altcoins, and there were 2 altcoins that a friend of mine had recommended, and he had made a lot of money in this from these recommendations from this person. And one of them was MultiVAC. So I had initially not looked into it, and I had looked into the other one. And then I started kind of looking into it and getting into the layer ones, and I like technology. So I started really reading about the technology and the sharding and a different aspect, and I got really into that stuff. And then I liked the price, and then I liked the ceiling with the layer 1, and I got all into it and really got into it right before the CEO announced he was leaving. And then
oh yeah, I know.
Yeah, it was all good, and it's no problem. But to be honest with you, I'm now down under a cent in my DCA, and I'm very happy with this, with what's going on now. I was very concerned over the last couple months, as a lot of people were. But as I tend to have a little bit of inside information here and there and speak to this one and speak to that one, you start to get a sense of what's going on here. And I think we just have a little bit of patience is really what's necessary. I think that there's a team that's trying to put together, and they have passion about what they're doing. They're trying to put together something great. It takes time. As we all know with all these other projects, it's the same thing. And as that's going on, and I start to learn more, and then I got a lot more comfortable with this whole ecosystem. So I feel really good about the whole MultiVAC ecosystem, and I discovered it from failing at crypto multiple times and finding my way into this.
Okay, one more question for you. I saw that you were wearing a Smashing Pumpkins hoodie
That's
with
right.
your interview with Martian Lord. Nice pick. So let's talk about potentially one of the greatest double albums of all time, Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness.
I don't want to talk about it.
If you had to go to a desert island and you could only take side 1 or side 2, which would you take? And side 1, we had Tonight, 0.
I know, I'm taking side 1. I already know. But
are you? Oh man,
yeah, I am. I'm a big fan. I like Tonight. I'm a big fan of that side. What's interesting about that album is that was one of my favorite albums, and the funny thing about it is I actually left it. In college, I went to University of Maryland for a couple years, and I had a neighbor that was a big music fan. And I had let him borrow it, and I left it there. And it never got over not losing those CDs. I was so mad about that. But now it's on Spotify, so I can listen to it all the time and everything. But yeah, that was I'm definitely a big fan of Tonight was a big song. I was born in 1979, so that was like a perfect, I was a big fan of that album and
that's the gem on the second disc there, right?
Yeah, and yeah, I love that. That whole thing was sick album. But they're still putting out good stuff, so a lot of those bands, and Weezer's another of my favorite. I don't have any shirts.
Yeah, me too.
I'm a huge Weezer fan, so I do like them, and those are the '90s bands I'm still rocking these days.
I remember jamming out to Weezer on Rock Band with the drum kit there.
Oh my god, man! And it's just like every year they have a new album, and it's great. It's unbelievable. Like they just keep putting stuff out, man. Awesome. But Phil, it was a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, no, this was great. Thank you so much for having me on. And I think there's going to be lots of developments in the future. So I would love to come back and chat more as we learn about Proxima and the next developments.
Yeah, well, they owe you a favor because you really enlightened everybody in terms of this income stuff. And I'm very, very excited now to learn more about this. And I got to go relook at my fleet and find some money for this Machina mint. So we should be good to go.
Just delist everything and figure it out first, right? Just you don't want to be selling anything for below mint price. So
not at all. You're with me, man. I'm with you.
Exactly.
But great talking with you, Phil, man. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, you too, Pete.
Talk to everybody soon. As always, do your own damn research. Make sure you're comfortable with all the facts that you find out and all the decisions you make before you invest in any NFT project. Don't just listen to dumbasses like me, unless you like listening to dumbasses out there, and then hit the subscribe button below. Talk to you soon.